Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Kissy. So today I had a lot of downloads and I just wanted to share what I do recall. It's one thing when it comes through and the information is just flowing and you receive it and it's beautiful and it's like wonderful epiphanies, right? And so then when you're settled in and you're ready to, okay, so go ahead, Spirit, I'm here, I'm listening. It's hard to backtrack, you know. So what I do recall, several things, and I guess I'll give a little warning ahead of time for anybody that's sensitive in regards to their religious beliefs or anything weird like that, simply because what I'm about to talk about might be offensive to anyone that's religious, and I'm not here to debate anybody's beliefs. I just want to share my perspective, and if people resonate with it, that would be wonderful, but it's not intended for anybody that's highly sensitive and needs to debate. I'm not in the mood for it. So here we go. So I had this this understanding in regards to death. And when I was a child, I used to have a lot of nightmares, and one specific theme was me dying, and it was usually in a certain way. But the thing is that it's been years since, and I think the letting go of the fear was one of the biggest things that helped, or acceptance. But I think the big takeaway that I had from the situation was if my dreams were showing me my death, I feel like what I have been doing is since 2020, I think I've been grieving my own death. And I know that sounds weird, but when I went through my dark night of the soul, and that's exactly what it felt like. It felt like a death, like a life review. But the thing is, the thing that I was, I guess, having a hard time with wasn't death itself. It was, we have these concepts of, well, what if I die? And then like the what ifs, like who you leave behind and how and what to do. And these are worries that I think they were inherited by, my ancestors in some way, their fears passed on. Because I have had this, as long as I can remember, these thoughts of that possibility one day, right? But then I think about it, I'm like, why am I so afraid of dying? And then why did I have so many dreams of death? And so it's like, been there, done that. That's kind of what it eventually started to feel like the fear was no longer shocking, because it got to the point even in the dreams where I was like, are you serious? Like, again? You know what I mean? Like, there was like almost an awakening within the dream that it was a repetitive cycle within the dream. And it's not so much like a deja vu, but just a theme, a dream theme that kept coming through. And obvious, and not obvious, excuse me. Interestingly, I have Pluto in the 12th house. So that's obviously, to me, that is the possibility of why that's the way it is. But that whole concept that I just talked about is something I've grappled with or coped with or dealt with or somehow made peace with. But there was still that, like, that fear of death kind of lingers regardless. You know, the preoccupation of the future or the worries of the future is always, I feel like every fear is ultimately a fear of death, right? Because death is really just a transformation, but it's just on a whole level. You know what I mean? So when I was driving today and I was contemplating this, and then it dawned on me, like, as we know, when we, have a nightmare, we wake up, we're like, oh wow, that was just a dream, but it felt so real. So in the same way, I had this kind of like understanding of when we die, we're everything and everyone in the world that we existed in dies with us or goes with us, however you want to look at it. It goes with us, because if you say it dies with me, it's like you just die. If in your brain you end, and everything with that was a part of that ends. But we live in a multi-dimensional universe where there's a multitude of realities. And what if, just like you wake up from a dream, if let's say you did die, let's say if that wasn't a dream, a dream of me, falling off a cliff or driving off a cliff or something, and it's like, oh no, and then screen gone. Like, that's usually how it is in the dreams. It's like before you even land, like you wake up, that's like that was like the moment of impact in the dream, the death in the dream, to open my eyes in the physical reality that I know of as my waking life. So if in our waking life, if everyone that you know that has passed in their waking life, like, I guess you could say I don't want to say preferably, but what I mean by that is, let's just say unexpectedly, not where they were in, bedridden for, months or years or whatever, and finally have, well, even like that, but in to make it make more sense, when the lights shut down in this reality, I guess the fear is I no longer exist, but all these people live on. And I used to think that was selfish of me. I would get mad about it. It's like, why do I die and they get to live and have fun? It was like the same fear that I used to have, like if you left me sleeping too long in bed and I find out that everybody's already awake. And I'm like, what? You guys started the day without me? That would piss me off. So, similarly, that was a vibe that I was feeling. But I got this whole understanding, or this whole epiphany that came to me, was like, you never know when you die, because it's in the blink of an eye, so to speak, right? You die to one reality and awaken in another. Every day you wake up in a new reality, but we forget that we can change the experience of it. It doesn't have to be a continuation of yesterday's story and play it out to the bitter end, even if the storyline is is boring, or if the storyline is not pleasant, or if the storyline is, not what you thought it would be, you can change it. But also, I know for a fact that I'm not explaining myself the way the way I received the message, but just imagine, okay, this is what I did want to say. It's like, I think one of the biggest fears of the concept, or the conversation of death, is the loss of the connection. And then, so if we think of losing someone out of our lives, how can we live without them? Or we'll think, if someone, if I couldn't be there for someone that depends on me, how would it be for them? And I think those are the biggest fears. But what if you never know that you died, and you've died a million times? Would it matter so much if every day you went to sleep, it was actually you died, and every day you wake up is you're actually being born again? Would it make a difference if you looked at the world that way, and that if you died, the whole world dies, and if you're born, the whole world is born with you? In other words, like, where you exist, your world is there. And the people that leave our lives, that was another thing. I was like thinking in terms of like, because there are people that are not dead, or how could I put it, that are in the physical reality, that used to be very close in my reality and no longer are. So those people are not dead, but they're dead in my reality. You know what I mean? In a certain way. They're not existing in my reality, but they're existing. And in the same way, a person that passes on is existing, but they're not existing in your reality at this time. And so then we wonder, so then what, if we've experienced people passing in our past, or what I mean, in this lifetime, that we can physically know people that have passed, but we think, well, technically we never die, because every day we're born anew. We can't deny that people have actually passed on, that we've gone to funerals, that we've put people under the ground, or cremated, whatever. We've had people in our lives that have physically passed on in the physical body. We've seen their bodies go. And that part for me was like, okay, what is the significance of that then? I feel like whoever experiences a loss in this lifetime, or in this reality, it was a lesson of the biggest illusion to overcome, which is death itself. And those deaths are like preparations. It could be like, oh, a friend of a friend passed away, or this family member, so far removed, or this person at the job, or at the school, or in the neighborhood, like, they're far away removed, is not so close to home. Then it hits home, and it is someone we dearly love and someone we dearly care about, and we think our world is over. Then we realize our world hasn't ended, and we learn to move on, and we learn to experience life without them, missing them dearly, because we still need to heal the dependency and the fear of loss. Because if we realize that person still exists as much as we want them to exist in our reality. Their memory lives with us, right? Within us. And as long as we keep their memory alive, and as long as we talk about them, as long as they're around, it's not very different like when you're off to college and you miss home and you know want to feel close. You may not be able to talk to them if you're like in a boarding school or a military school or somewhere where you're isolated. How do you cope? You remember them, you think of them, you hear them in your thoughts, you feel them in your heart, you feel their embrace or you feel their comfort next to you. You connect with them within you. And the stronger that bond becomes, or as strong as that bond was in real life, it is beyond life, if you want to call it that. A beyond life is the realms that we cannot see in our physical reality. So I know for sure I did not explain that as eloquently and as succinctly as I did in my own head before I came on here to talk to you guys. But at least I got the message across, which is what I wanted. And why was that imperative to know? Because it is. Truly it is. No, I think it's whatever's going on with Pluto at this time. There was another conversation. But I don't think I can bring it up right now. Or not because I can't, because I don't remember. Well, short and sweet. Keep it there. I'll come back with another message soon. Take care.